After the finals, I was talking to a friend of mine, someone whose opinion I respect, and he said something that stuck with me. He looked at what happened against the Knicks and genuinely questioned the Spurs team and Wemby, specifically if Wemby can lead this team to a championship. And I get it. I understand why people are going there right now. The Spurs made it to the finals and didn't win, so the questions have to start. What needs to change? Who needs to be traded? Does Wemby have that dog in him? Is he a leader? Can he actually carry a team when it matters? But before we go down that road, I want you to stop and ask yourself two questions. Who is your GOAT and where were they at 22? I can almost guarantee they were not the best player on a championship team. And it had nothing to do with their dog, their leadership style, or any of those intangibles. It was about understanding and mastering the game of basketball. And at 22, most guys haven't figured that out yet. I am not saying Wemby is the GOAT. Please, let's not do that. He is 22. What I'm saying is at 22, most players are still figuring out what they're actually good at. Very few have figured out what to be great at. And that distinction matters. Because you don't fall into being great at something. You decide first, and then you become it. The final series was a perfect illustration of that. A young team still learning who they are, versus a veteran team that knows exactly who they are and what they're great at. Look at how both teams closed out games. In the last 5 minutes, you always knew the Knicks' plan. Get Brunson the ball with a favorable matchup, or get him into a pick and roll, and then let him score or shift the defense before finding the open man. Everyone knew their role. Brunson knew where he wanted the ball and directed his team accordingly. On the Spurs end, it was never really clear. Is it Fox creating? Is it Harper? Castle? Do they feed Wemby? They were largely taking what the defense gave them. And that sounds reasonable in theory. But here's the problem. Elite defenses in the NBA, especially late in the playoffs, will always steer you towards your worst option. You can't always wait for the defense to give you something good. You have to know what shot you want and then work to get it. Now, how does this connect to Wemby? We all know what Wemby can do. He can handle, he can shoot, he can score in the paint, he can get to the line. He does everything. But being a jack of all trades is exactly the issue right now, because he hasn't mastered any one area of his offense. His finishing around the rim is elite, but he's not always around the rim. Outside the restricted area, he shot just 40% on paint shots during this playoffs, 26% on mid-range jumpers, and 33% on above-the-break threes. So New York's game plan kind of wrote itself. Keep him away from the restricted area. In practice, it looked like this. Keep a big body attached to Wemby at all times, Cat or Mitchell, constantly pushing him out of the paint, and make his catches as far from the rim as possible. Once he does catch the ball, put guards on either side of him to take away the drive in both directions. The Knicks would gladly live with him taking those long 2s and 3s all night, as long as he stayed away from the rim. For the first 40 minutes of games, the Spurs could work around it. But in the dying moments, when teams normally look to their best players to carry the offense, that game plan squeezed the life out of San Antonio. Wemby constantly catching in bad spots, the team forcing up shots they didn't want, and on the other end, the Knicks working methodically to get the exact shot they drew up. That's why the Spurs scored under 20 points in the fourth quarter 3 times in the 5 games. So what's the solution? Right now, Wemby is not a consistent isolation scorer because his shooting outside the paint is inconsistent. If he wants to eliminate this coverage, he needs a go-to ISO move. And that answer is simpler than you think. At 7'4", with that wingspan, that soft touch, and a jumper, instead of trying to operate like a guard on the perimeter, Wemby's isolation game should come from the post. I want him to study 2 players this summer. Dirk Nowitzki, Tim Duncan. Neither of them were physically imposing compared to the bigs of the era, but both of them dissected defenses from the post without needing that strength advantage. Both mastered the face-up post game, and both had a signature shot that was essentially unstoppable when they needed a bucket. For Dirk, it was the one-legged fadeaway. For Duncan, it was the bank shot. One of these is the move Wemby needs to learn. Look at this setup here. One side of the floor cleared. A shooter spotted up above. The defense has a choice. Fully commit to Dirk and leave the shooter open, or stay at home and give Dirk the shot. And here's the thing about this fadeaway. No one could really reach it against Dirk, who was 7 foot tall. If Wemby learns this shot, it's unblockable. Full stop. Dirk could go either way with this. Over his right shoulder, over his left shoulder, and with his understanding of angles, he didn't need much space to get it off. He was also much slower than Wemby, just to put that into perspective. Wings are way too small to contest it, and centers can barely get a hand on it. And the beauty of this move is that it creates more than just the shot itself. If the defender overplays the turn, Dirk can drive middle. If he pump fakes and the defender bites, he'll go right to the next open shot. One move, 3 outcomes. All of them bad for the defense. Tim Duncan's game worked on a similar principle. No strength required. He wasn't backing people down consistently. He'd face you up and just put it off the glass, and it felt like it dropped every single time. If you bite on the pump fake, it's an open dunk. Overplay and take away the shot, and he's going middle for floaters and hook shots with the softest touch you've ever seen from a big man. The touch on some of these interior finishes was genuinely rare. That part would be hard for anyone to replicate, but the bank shots, the face-up reads, that's teachable. This matters beyond just scoring. Think about how many times during this playoff run the Spurs built up big leads, 20 points, sometimes more, on aggressive defense and hot 3-point shooting, only to watch their offense stall and the lead evaporate. New York came back from 2 20-point fourth quarter deficits in this series alone. When the game slowed down, the Spurs had nowhere to go. No one knew where to look for the next shot, and a team like New York that knows who they are, they eat in these moments. Look around the league at how the best teams close games. The Knicks clear the right side of the floor for Jalen Brunson. The Thunder clear the left side for SGA. Every one of these teams has an answer, a place to go. The Spurs don't have that yet, and in close games, it showed every single time. Here's where I'll leave you. Wemby is just 22. The fact that they got to the finals at all is a testament to how talented this team already is. But talent without a go-to move can only get you so far. If he spends this offseason developing a post-game, a real one, with a signature shot he can go to 3 possessions in a row and guarantee quality looks, this team becomes a different problem. Not just because of the points it generates, but because of what it does to the entire offensive structure around him. Right now, defenses have built a blueprint. Give him a post-game, and this blueprint is gone. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.